So now this Tennessee, your thoughts?
Yeah, not a surprise at all. When you look at the bracket, when it comes out, you obviously get focused on the game in front of you, and then you kind of look to that first game, what it might be, and I mean that's basically who I anticipated that we would play. Great team, great talent. Enjoy competing against them, and should be a great night for college baseball.
I'm just curious. Everyone seems to love Scott Barry. You have any
Yeah.
interaction and stuff with him?
Yeah, very big time respect. To be a mid-major coach at programs that were successful, I think I kind of appreciate the challenges, and there's a few of them like Southern Miss that have kind of ascended to their own level in that regard, and that takes great coaching, great recruiting, great leadership, great culture. The guy's a winner, and it's somebody that I admire a lot.
The ballpark in Omaha is not exactly hitter-friendly, I guess. So can you elaborate what makes it difficult to play there?
I think it's bigger, and I think what is a hitter's ballpark? I think maybe it's a little bit relative to what Rosenblatt used to be like, which was a launching pad. So I think it's evolved into more fair recently, and winning baseball is winning baseball, and then there's just creating an awareness of some things that might be unique about it, and so we'll spend some time doing that and make sure we're plugged in and dialed into what we need to do. I think the thing that gets lost of it not being a hitter's ballpark either is if you're in Omaha, you have great pitching, as we do, as all these other teams do. So it's just flat out harder to score when you're facing the opponents that are usually there.
You've been out there many times. Is the fly balls and the twilight at Stanford a real thing?
Man, that was tough to watch. I mean, for anybody, like no rooting interest whatsoever. A lot of respect for Coach Esker at Stanford. A lot of respect for Coach Pierce at Texas. I recruited Lucas Gordon, the pitcher, harder than probably any player in my life when I was at Arizona, and he chose Texas over us, and so felt bad for him that it ended that way. It's baseball in some ways. I've seen, I guess what I would say is I've noticed that has happened a lot. I mean, in our games throughout the year. I mean, we had a tough sky against ULL, and I mean, Dylan's best player in the world lost a fly ball. Trey lost a fly ball. I feel like it's happened to our opponents like 6 or 7 times this year. I've seen it happen more this year than I've ever seen in my entire life. But you hate it for a game like that, with those two caliber teams, with that on the line, to kind of end like that.
I know that obviously the season's not over, but when you look back at the regular season, regional, super regional, do you think it was just an accomplishment for these guys to not let entitlement set in, knowing that they had to earn this trip to Omaha and not just handed it to them?
Yeah, I think the accomplishments, I mean, entitlement, it's a good word, and to be the complete opposite of that is a great quality in your team, and that's our team. I mean, they are very mature in their approach. We've been very intentional about our approach, and this is a special deal getting there. I mean, because outside of Riley, Bryce, and Christian, none of the players have been to Omaha, so it's a big accomplishment, and they knew they had to go earn it. With that being said, I mean, we clearly set a goal that is beyond being in the College World Series, and they believe in themselves at a high level. They know what elite preparation looks like. They know what being in the moment looks like. I think they've exhibited that over the past 2 weeks as good as you possibly can. Those things will serve us well with where we're headed and what we're doing. But becoming a team and having a legitimate process that's defined, that they work through on a daily basis, and respecting that. What we talked about going into the super regional is like getting there and having an opportunity to play there is going to be more worth it and more fulfilling because of how they've respected what they need to do. And I'm really proud of them for that.
Coach, to that point, coming into the season, we talked about buying into your expectations. So this program, these guys, buying into that, with your style of coaching as well, how much does that play a role into where you are now?
It's everything. And we started talking about it from day one last year. Like, you can wait and see how this goes, this different approach to things, and we're just going to waste time. But I haven't had any pushback fight. It's like, if you want to do it, it's got to be like an immediate trust. And on my end, I know I have to earn that from them. you know what I mean, and how I work and how we prepare and all of those types of things. But let's not waste time, you know, in feeling this thing out. And they didn't do that. And for sure, the guys that are still here that we chose to be here, you could call whatever you want, all in, bought in, buy in. It's at the highest possible level. Like there's been no issue with that. And then not only that, they've pushed it forward themselves as players, you know, and that's where the player leadership with so many guys, you know, Paul, Dylan, Cade, Gavin, Ty Floyd has really emerged in that regard. So it's something, another thing that I'm the most proud of.
What was your message to Ty Floyd after that game? Just because I know he seemed like he was down when he was walking off the mound.
On Sunday?
Yes.
I thought he did a good job. And, you know, it felt like it was 120 degrees on the field. The place was going to be a launching pad that day. I mean, we took the best batting practice I've ever seen, you know, on Sunday. And, I mean, guys were hitting balls that looked like singles that were line drives going over the fence. And it was like, hold on to your hat today. And so I think he did more good than he didn't. And I don't know if that sounded right, but looking at the first inning, and this has happened in several key SEC wins, is he gave up a homer in the first inning. It happened against Tennessee. It happened against Alabama. I think he gave up a second inning homer against Kentucky. And then, boom, got himself reset. Leaving the runners on second and third in the first inning was the key point in that game. If you're chasing 3 runs, it's different than you're chasing 1. And we immediately came back out and tied the game. So the most important pitch of the entire game the other night was in the first inning with 2 strikes and men on second and third. And so I kind of turned the focus towards that. And he executed. And we were 2 times through the order. Riley is a completely different look. We felt like scouting, you know, just like with Oregon State the week before, there was a path for him to execute, especially against the top of the order, which is really good for them, and he did. So it was more of just, it was going to be a team effort, you know, kind of going into that game.
With Omaha, do you plan your pitching differently because of the extended time, because of more games? Do you do anything differently with that regard?
You know, it's not like that anymore because they've gotten rid of some of the off days. And so it's definitely, with the exception of you have a day off after your first game, it's just like a regional. And so I think it had been that way for so long. I think we all just kind of assume. But when you're in bracket 2, there's definitely less downtime. And I actually don't mind that for our team, you know, especially with the way more guys have been contributing. I mean, if you want me to get really picky about the regional or the super regional, I would have liked to have gotten more pitchers in the game that we think are good, you know. So they'll have that chance, you know, in this tournament. I think that's okay for us with the way they're throwing the ball right now.
That said, are you happy that you have so many pitchers in the tank, I mean, ready to play? I mean, they haven't been touched.
Yeah, I think there's a huge benefit of that, especially when you go through a long season, when you go through the intensity of the season, through the SEC schedule. You look back at our SEC opponents and how they finished the year, it kind of brings to light like how difficult that stretch of baseball was. So they got taxed, you know what I mean? And we played 4 games a week every week and never had a losing week the entire season. And to do that, you need guys to execute. And against that schedule, that's tough. So getting a few guys a breather, I would expect some really good performances out of those guys, you know, come this week. Even like a guy like Thatcher who went high pitch count 2 weeks in a row, like it might be the best thing that ever happened, you know, for him to get a breath this last weekend.
Jay, do you think every single day about going to Omaha, winning the national championship? And if so, it's not enough just to think about it, visualize it. What do you think about in terms of trying to make that happen?
Well, the answer is definitely yes to that question. You know, and what I tell the players is like, you know, you either have goals or you have dreams. You know, if you have dreams, you just think about things. If you have goals, you think about them, and then you go to work very deliberately on how you want to achieve them. And so, yeah, there's a thought, but then it's got to be followed up with action. You know, and for our players, obviously, it's playing in the College World Series, win a national championship, but they also want to play in the Major League someday. Like, if you're coming here, like, that's a thing for you. And so kind of teaching them how to have the self-discipline to make them goals instead of dreams is kind of what we talk about a lot, and how I try to operate from my chair or my position. And I think this team has done a great job of that. And I think if you look at the player improvement, Gavin Dugas switching a position, Cade Beloso, emerging into a legitimate middle of the order, hitter, Jordan Thompson, quality at bat after quality at bat, great defense, Hayden Travinsky. There's so many good stories of that on this team. I think that improvement shows that they have talent, but it also shows the self-discipline to stay focused on the work. And going into this, we'll stay focused on the work. Like, we got our schedule all mapped out of where we're at, what we're doing, and getting prepared to play on Saturday.
How have you seen this Tennessee team evolve since the last time you guys played them?
Yeah, they made some switches to how they lined up their pitching, obviously, and they have great staff. So, they're going to be able to conserve runs, because of, or save runs, I guess, because they have good staff. Offensively, a lot of the same guys are still playing and are, maybe playing a little bit better, playing confidently. Much like us, or maybe a little different than us. They had a very tough stretch to begin. Well, I guess it was the same with us. We had a tough stretch to begin SEC play in terms of who they were playing. They kind of realigned some things in terms of how they were lining up their pitching and have pitched well. But that's not a surprise. It's a good, talented team. As I said earlier, when you look at the bracket and go like, okay, if we're there, who are we playing? My first thought, we're going to play Tennessee. So really not a surprise to me. That's great. It's a great team, great opponent, and honestly don't know that we would rather have it any other way. If you're going to win a national championship, making it even more validating is, playing the best teams. And, just for us, it'll be, we had to beat a team again in a super regional that we won a series against. It was a very good team. And then, you get another, SEC opponent in game one of the College World Series. And I think it's really exciting. And like I said, great night for our program and great night for college baseball coming up.
Have you looked much at Wake Forest or Stanford at all?
No, but we will. Yeah, you have to be prepared with that. I think something I learned, the couple times is you need to focus on your side of the bracket. Like the other side, it doesn't become relevant until it becomes relevant. And then having, the day off before the championship series and kind of how we roll is plenty of time to get focused on one team. So you spend all your time on your side of the bracket.
Sort of patting yourself on the back here. How much does your Omaha experience help lead this team to the ultimate goal?
I definitely feel way better prepared than the first time that we went, and we won 5 games the first time that we went. But having gone through everything, win the first game, then lose, and then have to win 3 in a row, and then, win a game in the finals, lose in the finals. Other than holding the trophy, I feel like I have a pretty good pulse on everything that happens over those 2 weeks. And, what more importantly than that is, the self-discipline and self-control of our team. They're going to be fine. Okay, we had a 10-minute meeting yesterday, no longer than 10 minutes. Hey, here's the schedule. Here's how we're going to continue to prepare the way that we have the last 2 weeks. Here's some of the things that are going to happen. These are a few things that we need to do to win. This is unique relative to being in Omaha. And then go out and be yourself and play in character. And I said that on Sunday night after the game. If they play in character, we're going to give ourselves a great chance.
Is there an aspect of Omaha that is unique, if that's going to be unique for these guys, that you kind of have to drill into them now or over the next couple of days, just so they're used to it and they know, then they can sort of expect it?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that come to mind. Number one is, it was important the other night that they celebrate winning the Super Regional, and I think it was important to relax yesterday and reset. And then today, it's about being back in tune with what makes us, which is the work, like I was just talking about, and the preparation. And then there's still some downtime, while you're there. Enjoy that, and then have the understanding of what you need to be when you need to be it. So when we're preparing while we're out there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, like let's be locked into what we're doing preparing. And then there's other times to step back and relax and enjoy it. And then the other element is, I think we have to be as prepared as anybody. Is, there's 26,000 people in there, on Saturday night, no question about it. And so it's exciting, you know what I mean? They'll be like, this is awesome. I mean, it feels like the College World Series. And so just staying focused on the task at hand. I know, super boring. Focusing on one pitch at a time, super boring. But all of it still applies the exact same way.
What's the schedule look like the next couple of days?
Yeah, we're going to work out today. We've kind of found a sweet spot of timing that's worked really well for us since they've been out of school. It allows for the right work to be done, the recovery, all of that type of stuff. We'll be doing our scouting and stuff like that. Then tomorrow we'll leave tomorrow morning. We'll have a light workout tomorrow just to kind of, hey, we're going to get off the plane and do the deals that come with coming to the College World Series, but then we're going to go practice. Got a lot of bullpens that need to be thrown tomorrow. Hitters have some things that we want to do. Thursday we'll practice in the stadium. I think 3:15 is our time, if I'm not mistaken, 3:10, 3:15. And then Friday we'll have another workout, kind of like a normal practice that we've been having here throughout the postseason, and tee it up on Saturday.
We'll go ahead and let Coach go because we got the players. Feel good.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.